Real growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about stripping away who you aren't. If you want to vibrate higher, you have to stop carrying the weight of your old, dead versions. Most people are scared of the dark, but you can't meet your highest self until you have the courage to let the current you go. Before we start, let's lock in your mindset. Type, "I am ready to evolve" in the comments to set your intention. The first thing that has to die is the fake version of you created for other people. In the world of psychology, this is known as the persona. It is the social face you present to the world, a functional compromise between who you really are and what society expects you to be. We all have one. You have a work mask, a family mask, and a social media mask. The problem isn't that you have a mask. The problem is that you've forgotten you're wearing it. You have become so attached to the character you play that the real you has been buried alive underneath layers of performance. When you spend every waking second being the nice guy, the perfect worker, the strong one, or the successful achiever, you are leaking vital energy. This is why you feel exhausted, even when you haven't done much physical work. You are tired because it takes an immense amount of psychic fuel to maintain a lie. To unlock a higher vibration, you must stop performing. The mask is a heavy, suffocating shield that keeps the world out, but it also keeps you trapped inside. It acts as a barrier to true intimacy and genuine power. You cannot vibrate at a high frequency when you are vibrating at the frequency of someone else's expectations. Think about how much of your life is spent managing other people's perceptions of you. You edit your words, you suppress your true opinions, and you hide your genuine desires because you are terrified of the social death that comes with being disliked. But this fear is a cage. Higher vibrations require authenticity. You cannot reach the state of individuation, becoming a whole, undivided human being, while you are still split into 1,000 different pieces for 1,000 different people. The mask is safe, but it is dead. It is a plastic, static thing that cannot grow. Only the raw, unfiltered self can evolve. This death is painful because it feels like you are losing your security. You might lose friends who only liked the mask. You might upset co-workers who preferred the version of you that never said no. But this is a necessary clearance. You must be willing to be the villain in someone else's story if it means being the hero of your own. Stop asking, "What do they want me to be?" and start asking, "What am I when no one is watching?" When you kill the mask, you stop being a puppet moved by the strings of social approval. You reclaim your breath. You reclaim your voice. You reclaim the massive amount of energy you used to spend on the performance. This liberated energy is exactly what you need to fuel your transition into a higher state of consciousness. Most people go to their graves never having lived a single day as themselves. They die as a collection of other people's opinions and societal scripts. Do not let that be your story. Let the mask shatter. Let the good person die so the real person can live. The world doesn't need more actors. It needs more souls that have the courage to stand in their own truth, regardless of the cost. The death of the mask is the birth of your true power. Only when the fake dies can the real vibration begin. Kill the character. Stop the show. Let the mask fall to the floor and turn to dust. What remains is the only thing worth saving. The second thing that must die is the wall of silence you've built around your internal world. You have spent years running from the parts of yourself that you consider ugly, weak, or shameful. You hide these traits from your friends, your family, and most dangerously, from yourself. In the teachings of Carl Jung, this collection of hidden traits is known as the shadow. The shadow is everything about yourself that you have denied, suppressed, or tucked away in the basement of your subconscious because you were told it wasn't acceptable. But here is the ruthless truth. What you hide does not disappear. It rots. To unlock a higher vibration, you must kill the secrecy that feeds the shadow. You cannot reach a state of power while you are in a state of internal war. Every secret you keep about your true nature, Your hidden anger, your untapped ambition, your quiet jealousies, or your deepest fears, is a leak in your energy field. It takes a massive amount of psychic strength to keep those secrets buried. You are essentially using half of your power to keep the other half of yourself in a cage. This is why you feel stuck, why you feel blocked, and why you can't seem to manifest the life you want. You are a house divided against itself, and a divided house cannot stand, let alone fly. Secrecy is the oxygen of the shadow. As long as you keep your flaws a secret, they control you. This is why you find yourself reacting with explosive anger over small things, or why you feel a sudden, sharp bitterness when someone else succeeds. That isn't just how you are. That is your shadow screaming for attention from behind the wall of secrets. Jung famously said that what you resist persists. By trying to be perfect and keeping your dark side a secret, you are actually giving that darkness more power. It operates in the background, sabotaging your relationships and your goals, and you call it bad luck. To kill the secrets, you must practice radical honesty. This doesn't mean you have to shout your flaws from the rooftops, but it does mean you must stop lying to the person in the mirror. You have to look at your capacity for chaos, your selfishness, and your pride, and say, I see you. This is the process of shadow integration. You aren't trying to fix these parts, you are trying to own them. When you bring a secret out into the light of your own consciousness, it loses its grip on your throat. It stops being a monster and starts being a source of energy. Think of the villain inside you. That part of you has a lot of drive, a lot of assertiveness, and a lot of raw survival instinct. When you keep it a secret, it turns into toxic behavior. But when you kill the secrecy and integrate that energy, it becomes the fuel you need to stand up for yourself, to dominate your field, and to protect your boundaries. Higher vibration isn't about being a saint. It's about being a whole human being. A saint is just a person who is very good at hiding their secrets. A high vibration individual is someone who has nothing to hide from themselves. The death of secrecy is the end of projection. Most of the things that annoy you or trigger you in other people are actually just your own secrets being reflected back at you. When you kill the secrets, the world stops being a mirror of your own unresolved baggage. You stop pointing fingers and start taking territory. You stop being a victim of your own impulses and start being the commander of your own psyche. Let the perfect version of you die. Let the good version of you that never feels bad thoughts die. The weight of these secrets is what keeps your frequency low and heavy. When you stop lying, the energy you used for suppression is suddenly liberated. You feel lighter because you are no longer carrying the corpse of who you pretend to be. True power is found in the dark, not by staying there, but by walking into it with a flashlight and claiming everything you find as your own. Kill the secrets, or they will eventually kill your potential. Break the silence within. Bring the shadow into the light, and watch your vibration soar. The third thing that must die is the comfort of your justifications. We live in a world that rewards the victim narrative, providing endless reasons why you haven't achieved your potential. But to the seeker of a higher vibration, an excuse is nothing more than a slow-acting poison. It is the ego's primary defense mechanism, designed to protect you from the stinging realization of your own untapped power. You must kill the idea that you are a passive bystander in the theater of your life. This is where you confront the harsh reality of synchronicity and the weight of your own unconscious choices. Carl Jung famously stated, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This is the psychological root of every excuse you have ever made. When you say, "I didn't have the right upbringing, the economy is bad, or people always betray me," you are taking the complex inner workings of your own psyche and projecting them onto the outside world. You are calling your internal patterns bad luck or destiny to avoid the terrifying responsibility of change. An excuse is a lie you tell yourself so you don't have to face the mirror. It is a psychological shield that keeps your vibration anchored in the mud of mediocrity. To move into a higher frequency, you have to kill the why me and replace it with why not me. You have to stop viewing life as a series of accidents happening to you and start viewing it as a mirror reflecting you. Every time you blame an external circumstance for your lack of progress, you are handing over your power to that circumstance. You are essentially saying that the world is stronger than your will. This is a low vibration state. High vibration is born from the ashes of your excuses. It begins the moment you accept that even if you didn't cause the storm, you are the one holding the rudder of the ship. Kill the excuse of timing. There is no perfect moment coming to save you. The ego uses the future as a dumping ground for the tasks it is too afraid to handle today. By saying, "I'll start when I have more money," or "I'll change when things calm down," you are practicing a form of self-sabotage. You are waiting for a permission slip from the universe that is never going to arrive. Higher vibration is a choice made in the chaos, not in the calm. It requires you to act while you are still afraid, to build while you are still broke, and to lead while you are still learning. Kill the excuse of past trauma. While your history may explain your current struggles, it does not justify your future failures. Many people wear their wounds like a badge of honor, using them as a permanent hall pass to stay small. But your trauma is not your identity. It is your training ground. In Jungian terms, the wounded healer is one who has integrated their pain and used it as a source of wisdom. If you stay in the victim phase of your story, you are choosing a low-frequency existence. You are allowing a version of you that no longer exists to dictate the life of the person who stands here today. The death of excuses is the birth of radical accountability. This is not about self-blame. It is about self-mastery. When you kill the excuses, you stop looking for scapegoats. You stop looking for gatekeepers to blame for your lack of access, and you start looking for ways to build your own door. You realize that the obstacles in your path are not there to stop you, but to test the strength of your resolve. A higher vibration is earned through the friction of overcoming. It is the energy released when you stop complaining about the mountain and start climbing it. Let the reasonable version of you die. The world is full of reasonable people living small, quiet lives of regret because they had perfectly good reasons for never taking a risk. You must be unreasonable. You must be willing to ignore the facts of your current situation in favor of the truth of your potential. Stop feeding the narrative that explains why you can't. Start starving the excuses and feeding the execution. When the last excuse dies, your true vibration begins. You are no longer a leaf blown by the wind of circumstance. You become the wind itself. Kill the because, kill the if only, and kill the maybe. What remains is your will, unfiltered, focused, and unstoppable. The fourth thing that must die is the sedative of safety. We are biologically wired to seek comfort, but comfort is the graveyard of the soul. You stay in a job that drains your spirit. You linger in relationships that have been dead for years, and you cling to habits that keep you small, all because the known hell feels safer than the unknown heaven. To unlock a higher vibration, you must kill your addiction to being comfortable. You have to stop treating your life like a waiting room and start treating it like a battlefield. In Jungian psychology, this is the core of individuation, the process of becoming who you are truly meant to be, which requires you to separate from the herd and the safety of the collective. Most people are living a second-hand life. They follow the scripts handed down by their parents, their culture, and their peers because following the script is comfortable. It provides a sense of belonging and protection. But higher vibration is a solitary frequency. It exists outside the boundaries of what everyone else is doing. You cannot reach the peak of your potential while you are still huddled in the valley with people who are afraid of heights. You are clinging to a sinking ship because you are terrified of the open water, not realizing that you were born with the ability to swim. The old comforts are the anchors keeping you submerged in a low-frequency existence. Think about the comfort of your current social circle. Are these people challenging you to grow, or are they safe because they never ask you to change? We often surround ourselves with jealous mirrors, people who reflect back our own insecurities and validate our stagnation because our growth would make them feel inadequate. You stay with them because it's comfortable to be understood, but it is lethal to be complacent. To move higher, you must kill the need for external validation. You must be willing to be misunderstood, judged, or even exiled from the tribe of the comfortable. Real power is found in the void, in the space between who you were and who you are becoming. Jung taught that the spirit of the times is always in conflict with the spirit of the depths. The spirit of the times wants you comfortable, compliant, and predictable. The spirit of the depths wants you to realize your will to power and your unique destiny. Every time you choose the safe option over the calling, you are committing a slow form of spiritual suicide. You are trading your greatness for a steady paycheck, a quiet house, and a life without friction. But a life without friction is a life without fire. You need the heat of the unknown to forge the gold of the self. Kill the comfort of knowing what happens next. The ego hates uncertainty because it cannot control it. But uncertainty is the only place where creation happens. If you already know exactly how your next 10 years are going to look, you are already dead. You're just waiting for the body to catch up. A higher vibration requires you to step into the abyss of the unknown with the absolute conviction that you will grow wings on the way down. You must burn the bridge to your backup plan. As long as you have a safety net, you will never put in the effort required to fly. This death is a process of pruning. A gardener kills the weak branches so the tree can focus its energy on the fruit. You must prune the comforts that are sucking the life out of your ambition. Stop settling for fine. Stop settling for it's okay. Stop settling for at least I'm secure. Security is an illusion created by the ego to keep you from taking the risks necessary for evolution. The only real security is your ability to adapt, to grow, and to overcome. Let the settled version of you die. Let the version of you that seeks a quiet life turn to ash. You were not meant for a quiet life. You were meant for a significant one. The final and most absolute thing that must die is the person you were 5 minutes ago. The greatest lie you have ever been told is that you are a finished product, a static entity defined by your history, your mistakes, and your past successes. This is the ultimate trap of the ego, the desire for a permanent identity. But in the architecture of the psyche, permanence is synonymous with death. To unlock a higher vibration, you must embrace the perpetual funeral of the self. You must become the executioner of your own history. Carl Jung understood that the process of individuation is not a destination, but a continuous cycle of psychic death and rebirth. If you are not constantly shedding your skin, you are being strangled by it. Most people are incredibly loyal to their past. They carry their old failures like holy relics, using them to justify why they cannot move forward today. They say, "I've always been this way," or "This is just my personality." But your personality is often just a collection of trauma responses and social conditioning that has hardened into a shell. This shell is what keeps your vibration low, heavy, and predictable. To reach a higher frequency, you must be willing to become a stranger to the people who knew the old you. The old you is an anchor. It is made of old habits, old thought patterns, and old emotional reactions that no longer serve your current vision. You must kill your loyalty to your story. Everyone has a story they tell themselves about why they are the way they are. I was rejected. I was overlooked. I was never the smart one. This story is a cage. It provides the ego with a sense of self. But it is a self built on lack. You must have the courage to stand in the present moment and realize that you are not your past. You are the consciousness that witnessed the past. When you stop identifying with the character in your old story, you liberate the massive amount of energy that was being used to keep that story alive. This liberated energy is the raw material for your transformation. The old version of you is terrified of the unknown because it cannot survive there. It only knows how to survive in the familiar territory of its own misery. But the new you, the higher vibration self, thrives in the unknown. Every time you choose a new reaction over an old habit, you are killing a piece of the old self and birthing a piece of the new. This death must be daily. The ego is resilient. It will try to crawl back into the driver's seat every morning. You must wake up and decide that the person who went to sleep last night is dead. You are a new being with new possibilities. This is the true meaning of rebirth. If you're ready to let the old version of you burn, comment, "I am ready to evolve," below. Your words are the first step of the ritual. Subscribe and hit the bell. We don't do motivation here. We do strategic evolution. Don't miss the next blueprint. The funeral is over. Now go out and live as the new you.